Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My ranch truck's in the shop and that's not good. There's something wrong with the front right wheel on this thing. I got it pulled in the shop. We're gonna figure out what's wrong with it today. Let's go dig into it. All right guys, like I said, something's wrong with the old ranch truck here. This thing is pretty problem-free for me. It really doesn't get much love. It kind of gets abused and misused sometimes, but I try to take care of it when I can. And just recently I put a radiator in it because the other one was leaking for about 2 years. So it finally got a replacement radiator that doesn't seem to be leaking. But this morning, we're in July and we put up our prairie hay pretty much three weeks of July. Sometimes it takes us longer depending on the weather. And we are kind of almost halfway through, probably not quite, but right in the middle of it basically. And this morning we were heading out to haul some hay, and the front right here just kind of almost locked up on me and almost pulled me in the ditch. And we got out and checked it, and the hub was really hot. I assumed it was a problem with the brake. We've had a problem with this before. It's probably been a couple years now back on the channel. We pulled this thing in the shop, and pretty much the same thing. Front right, and it got hot, but it ended up being a broken spring on the brake assembly on the drum brakes, and that caused the brake to drag, causing a problem. But I have done a little bit of digging in this thing to figure out what's wrong, and that's not brakes. That's going to be something in the wheel bearing, I think. Unfortunately, it doesn't spin very good, and it started squeaking on me as I was pulling it in the shop. So hopefully we can dig in this thing. Hopefully it's repairable because I need to drive this thing. We got the afternoon off. It rained last night, so we cleaned up the hay we had out. But unfortunately the hay we had down got rained on. So nothing doing in the hayfield this afternoon. I want to try to get this thing knocked out and back on the road because we'll be back at it tomorrow, hopefully, if it doesn't rain again tonight. So we got to get this thing back on the road. I might have to pull some parts off some other trucks. I'm hoping my spindle's all right. That's the big thing. If the spindle's all right, I might be able to try to get some bearings or just pull some used bearings off another truck and get me by for the time being. So let's get this wheel off of here and see what's wrong. We got some water in here. That's not good. A little bit of water intrusion. Of course, my grease is all black because it got all hot on me trying to get back to the shop. Well, I guess we don't have any choice but to dig in further. Oh, there's a lot of water. We've been having a lot of rain, and I've been driving through a lot of water with this thing with flooded roads and such. Looks like we got some water in there. I'm hoping that's not our failure, but it's looking like it might be. Get some of this cleaned up so we can see what we're doing here. I'm gonna work on this thing, see if I can get it out of here, and we'll catch back up with you guys after I get something done. Well, I got that piece out for the lockout hub finally. Our spring was shoved all the way back in there, and we have no rollers anymore. You guys can see that. I think they're probably back behind that bearing race, but there is no rollers. I'm glad I made it to the shop, because that was about to be a problem, if it already isn't a problem with my spindle. When I get those nuts off of there, and we should be able to pull, hopefully we'll be able to pull the hub off of there. Hopefully those bearings don't cause us problems in there if they're lodged up. So let me get those spindle nuts off and see what happens. There's one. We should have a little plate behind here. We do. This is to keep them from backing off. And we have another one. Oh, that's not good. That bearing has caused problems with this one, which is not happy. Oh. Yep. This just keeps getting funner. As much carnage as I'm seeing, I'm guessing my spindle's damaged, unfortunately. Maybe we'll get lucky. I'm not sure what to do at this point. I guess I could hammer off the... If I could get it off of there, and the rear bearing will stay on behind the seal. I'll have to get the seal. Get the seal to stay back. There we go. Ruined our seal. Boy, it's just gone. Probably should have been checking this sooner. That bearing might have welded itself to the spindle. Alright, spindle nut is welded solid. So I'm going to try cutting it off, because the big hammer didn't work. So hopefully I don't get into my spindle at all. I'm going to go in this keyway here so I have a little bit of room. So let's give it a try. Still says nope. I'm going to try cutting through this bearing, because if it's bearing's sees to the spindle, it's all junk anyway. So we'll just see what we can find out. I'm definitely through the nut. Well, I split it. Still not budging though. There, it's turning. It'll be easier just to split it again. Alright, I have about 5% hope of it not being spun. It definitely spun. It's not as bad as I thought it would look. Inner bearing looks fine. Really not a ton of water in here. I'm guessing our bearing just decided to leave the chat. Ate itself plumb up. Boy, it ain't good looking. Probably should put a spindle in it. Or a HD axle. Spindles are pricey. Hate putting money in a standard duty axle. I got a whole rebuilt HD I could just throw in here. Decisions. Alright, I'm calling it. This spindle is junk. It is probably runnable, but on a truck like this that I use all the time, I'm going to go ahead and put a good spindle on it. And replacements are about $490. Before shipping, of course. Plus, I have to wait for it to get here. Like I said, I like to have this truck back on the road. So we're going to go pull apart some parts out of one of my other light duty Dana 44 trucks. Steal the spindle. Steal the bearings. Hopefully the bearings are good. Ooh, look at all that water. That's going to be in my closed knuckle. Springtime with a Highboy. Need to check for water, I guess. That's not great. That don't look bad. It just had a little water in it. And get this spindle knocked out of here. And go get a different one. You guys can see where it spun there on the spindle. That's not good. It's not terrible, like I said, but you know, that's a precisely machined surface, so any damage is really too much. you could limp home on a new bearing or something. But check my U-joints while I'm in here. Looks like I'm gonna have to drain my water out of my closed knuckle, but there's still lots of fluid in there. The water's just riding on top as far as the closed knuckle lubricant stuff. Happy that's not bone dry. All right, let's go get some parts. All right, we're here with my 67 Highboy. It has the light duty axle, so this is what we're after. We're gonna get a spindle. I'm gonna go ahead and use this hub so I don't have to worry about changing the bearing cups. And we'll probably take the drum off of this one and use my drum off my red truck. But this one's locked up. I hope it doesn't give us any problems. I'm guessing the brake is just kind of stuck from sitting here so long. So I'm gonna buzz these lug nuts off and see if I can get the drum broke free and get this thing tore down. Alright, I got everything off. Got my spindle here. Everything looks to be in really good shape with this thing. The drum I didn't get off. I'm going to get this off at the shop. The reason it was locked up is it had a bunch of dirt daubers in it, so that's mystery solved there. Luckily, everything in here looks great. We got good grease on our bearings, and the bearings look good and even. So I think somebody's been in here recently. The brakes look really new. If you can tell how much material we got there, and they're nice and clean. So somebody in here at least did a brake job. Hopefully they checked the bearings or replaced the bearings. They did put gear oil in their closed knuckle, which is incorrect, but no harm, no foul. So we're gonna get this thing put back together and sealed up enough, because there's some awful good parts on this thing. I don't want to leave them open to the elements. So I'm gonna get them sealed up after I get my truck back together. Probably get my old parts over here and throw them back on this thing to seal it up for now until I find a spindle. But for now, let's get these parts back to the shop and see if we can get them put to use. Alright, I got my new spindle here. All cleaned up, ready to go. If you notice, they use some silicone, some sealant on the inside of this thing. That is not really required. I mean, it's not really going to hurt anything, but this closed knuckle lubricant doesn't really move anywhere whenever you're putting this thing to use. It's not like oil or something. Make sure we get our holes lined up. That looks good. Get our brakes on here. Before I put this thing together, I did test fit the bearing that came off of our donor truck on our used up spindle, and it did kind of fit on there. So I think, like in a pinch, I probably could have put a new bearing on it and rolled on, but that would be kind of like on the side of the highway kind of a thing, or on a road trip or something. This is probably going to be a semi-permanent fix, aka it's supposed to be a semi-fix to get me by, but it's probably going to end up being permanent until something else goes wrong. But that's just the way it goes. These things are easy to fix, easy to work on. It's not a major deal when they break down. Other than spindles are stupid expensive. That's pretty unfortunate. No matter. We'll get this thing back together. Get time to check my brakes. Look like our brakes are good. We got some chunks missing out of this one. My drum's not in the best shape. Speaking of drums, I couldn't get the old drum off of our new spindle, so I made the executive order to keep that one on there. So we're using the old drum off of that 67. It looked in okay shape. It actually looked better. The inside of it looked better than the drum off of this thing. It's kind of grooved up. If you can tell by my shoes there, a little grooved up. It'll work. All right, I got everything ready to go. I did back my shoes off a little bit because I think maybe this drum isn't wore as much as my other one, just going off looks. Here we got that new seal. Remember, we're just using the old bearings and seals. I didn't even take them out of this thing. I did repack the outer bearing, but I mean, they look pretty good. And as we saw with the brakes on the other truck, somebody has been in there doing something. So like I said, I'm hoping that they just redid the bearings too. That all went together nicely. Here's my repacked outer bearing. Get it shoved in there. And go back with our spindle nuts, if I remember where I put them. There we go. Now you have to remember that these go on a certain way. It's very important. The inner one has a little pin right there. So you tighten that one up where you want it. And then you have your locking ring that's got a nub there for that keyway and all these holes. You got to get your nut lined up where that keyway lines up with one of these holes. Everything's lined up, and then this one just sandwiches it all together and keeps it all locked in place. If that pin's sheared off, a lot of times they are, or sometimes they are, your bearings won't stay tight. I guess this is a lesson to check your wheel bearings from time to time. Although, if you did notice, I don't have a traction tire on the front end of this thing. I had to, my old grip spur that was on this, it's a tube type, and I'm running it tubeless, and it started to have a big bubble in it, and I think, don't quote me on this, but I think part of that tubeless thing is the layers aren't designed to really seal air very good, and I think some air got under some of the layers and it bubbled up under the tread. So I need to put a tube in it. Haven't done it yet. Been busy. So we're just running a known goods 750/16 in place right now. Those grip spurs are going on about 20 years old, and they're just about used up anyway. Now, it's important to know when you're going together with used bearings to put them in a little bit looser than you would new bearings, because they don't have any break-in period. They should already be broke in. With new bearings, you put them in a little bit tighter because they'll break in, and you kind of find their home. I think we'll call that good as long as we can get the pin to line up. A magnet makes this pretty easy. I don't have one handy at the moment, so I'll get my hands all greasy again. Perfect, lined up good. I always have a lot of people that say they want to see this truck more on the channel, and to be honest, it really doesn't get any channel worthy content, so that's why I'm filming this. It's just my kind of daily driver, drive in the mud when it's muddy, drive to work in the hayfield and stuff kind of truck. But if you guys like it, I'll keep posting. If you like seeing me do this kind of maintenance on this truck, got that top nut pretty tight because it's got to stay put. Make sure we didn't get it too tight. I don't think we did. All right. Now all we lack is our lockout hub. And this was shoved way back in there. I guess it was okay. I'm guessing it just got shoved way back in there because of that bearing was gone. I don't know. I guess it looks okay. I was worried something got messed up in that. We'll give it a go. There's a bunch of metal pieces on it. Guess I ought to clean all that up. Cleaned up good enough, I think. Remember how all this goes together. There's metal pieces all in this. I'm going to clean all this up real good, get some wash gas, and give it a good cleaning. And go back together. Alright, got everything washed off. Hopefully we go back together with this thing in the right order. I think I got it all figured out. Alright, make sure our snap ring's all in place. Get our dial put it back on. Make sure the thing works. Make sure it does the thing. Oh, I put that on wrong. Oh no. My dial wasn't in the right spot. Oh. There we go. All right, nothing to it. I think we're back on the road. I'm gonna get this tire put on and we'll take it for a drive. All right, here we go. We're back on the road before the end of the day. That was my goal. Hopefully this bearing setup lasts us the rest of the hay season, and I will remember to go check on it afterwards. So I guess this whole ordeal has been a reminder to be sure to check your wheel bearings from time to time. Although I did just have that tire off and nothing felt out of whack then. What happened was I was driving up this morning to haul hay, like I said, and we just heard a big pop and it pulled hard to the right. And we got out and checked it, like I said, and I don't know. That could have been the bearing exploding, I guess, and just instantly failing. It's kind of odd that when we took that apart, there was absolutely no roller bearings to be found. Whenever we got to the hay barn, I yanked on the tire to see if it was loose. There wasn't any play there that I could tell. So it's kind of crazy that that tire stayed on. I drove all the way back home, ate lunch, and then drove to the shop. Nothing was wrong then. It wasn't pulling hard to the right, wasn't making a bunch of noise. Right when I was getting in the shop, it started squeaking. I could have swore it would have been the brakes failing again since I didn't feel any play earlier, but now we know it's taken care of. I just wish those spindles weren't so dang expensive, because now I got a truck without a good spindle. But at least you can buy them. At least they're not unavailable, as a lot of these parts are for these old trucks. Anyway, we got the ranch truck back together. If you guys like this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys.